phaser on stun. Let us now settle into a spirit of worship with a moment of quiet, to be followed by the music of Jerry Goldsmith, Star Trek.
I guarantee that there are few, if any, other places this Sunday where the prelude was that. Our chalice lighting this morning are words by the Reverend Dr. Rebecca Savage. We light our flaming chalice each week with a simple spark to make holy our time together. We light this flame. With this flame, may our highest intentions be refreshed. With this flame, may we remember who we are and whose we are. With this flame, may our faith be renewed and reignited to guide us on our journey. Amen. Blessed be. May it be so.
Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Worcester, a congregation of love, hope, and justice, inspiring people to take on the challenges of a changing world. My name is Diane Mann, and I am one of your worship associates this morning. We begin by acknowledging that in Worcester, Massachusetts, we work, learn, live, and worship on the seized ancestral homeland of the Nipmuc people who survive and remain active as the Nipmuc Nation. We offer a special welcome to you who are new or visiting with us for the first time this morning. We are delighted that you are here. We hope that you will join us in Fellowship Hall following the service for refreshments and conversation. If you have questions or desire more information about this service or any of the ministries and programs of this congregation, please do not hesitate to ask. We invite you to fill out one of the pew cards. These cards can be placed in the offering plate or given to one of the ushers or greeters this morning. For those of you joining us online this morning, we offer you a very special welcome. For safety purposes and so that we might come to know you better, as you are able, please place your name on your video feed. Please take a moment to sign over one of the attendance clipboards that are now being circulated. Though you are not obligated to sign, we appreciate your information and will use it only for church purposes. During the service, we offer an opportunity to share a brief personal joy or sorrow. If you would like yours to be read aloud by the minister, please print it on an index card in the pew and drop it in the collection plate when it comes around. These cards will also be posted outside the minister's office to be shared with our friends at other services. For those online, you can place a joy or sorrow in the chat and we will read or share it during this time in the service. In the foyer are listening devices and large print service programs and hymnals for those who may find their assistance beneficial. Please see one of our ushers who will be pleased to assist you. I invite you now to turn your technology to worship mode. And finally, please note the announcements on the back of your program. There will be time for short verbal announcements following the postlude. We are so glad you are here and hope that this morning is an opportunity for rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. Ohara out.
Our opening words this morning are those of Monica Jacobson Tennyson. We say, welcome to your joy, your hope, your pride. We say welcome to your grief, your fear, your anger, and the parts of you that are not ready to be seen and heard. Welcome to them as well. For we are a people of faith. Faith in our expansive welcome, faith in our ability to grow, faith in the precious gift of our truths, faith in the promise of trying and learning and changing, faith in our capacity to know ourselves and each other ever more deeply. Welcome to you who are gay, straight, bi, pan, lesbian, queer, questioning, unable to be contained in any word. Welcome to you who are trans, cis, genderqueer, non-binary, intersex, agender, beyond words. Welcome to you who are human. Welcome to you who are love and are loved. Welcome to you who are blessed, which is all of you. May this time together be a blessing. Would you please join together in our opening hymn number 360, found in your gray hymnals, We Gather, Here We Have Gathered. Please rise in body or in spirit. Here we have gathered God, I miss singing with you. I want to invite Beckley Showalter to come forward at this time for this month's 8th Principle Moment.
Good morning. As Aaron said, my name is Beckley Showalter. For today's 8th Principle Moment, on behalf of the 8th Principle Task Force, I'd like to share the text of a brochure that the task force is working on, and they're planning to make available in our foyer. It's called Worcester and the Nipmuc Nation. Here's the text, and it's a little long. It's going to take me like 5 minutes to read this. Before Europeans came to America, the area now known as Central Massachusetts was called Nippanet, meaning the freshwater pond place. Nipmuc is the native name for the people who lived here. They subsisted by planting food, hunting, and gathering. Nipmuc women were the keepers of cultural norms by passing them from one generation to the next. They were also responsible for farming and feeding their families. It's believed that the Nipmuc population dwindled even before colonization due to contact with European traders and fishermen, which led to diseases for which they had no immunity. The first documented contact between the Nipmucs and Europeans was in 1630, when the Nipmucs sold corn to starving colonists in Boston. Land in what's now known as Worcester was considered fertile by early European settlers in eastern Massachusetts. Colonists who came to this area in the early 1600s were encouraged by the colonial authorities to wage unlimited war on the Nipmuc people. They destroyed native villages by burning the homes, trampling on the gardens, and killing women and children. After military conquest by the colonists in the 1660s, land grants were given to powerful English settlers for their military service, as well as to a church in Malden. The colonists then strove to convert Nipmucs to Christianity. Early settlers documented villages of Christian converts, so-called praying towns, in the Quinsigamond area, including Packagug on the southeastern side of modern-day Worcester, Assanamesset, now Grafton, and Wishakim, now Sterling. An additional hamlet was called Tatesset, which is in modern-day Cascade Park and Asnabumskid Hill. And there was another village on what became known as Wigwam Hill on the western side of Lake Quinsigamond. Metacom, a Pokanoket chief of the Wampanoag in southeastern Massachusetts, abandoned his father's alliance with the English after several violations by settlers. In 1675, battle lines were drawn, with some natives siding with the colonists and others, including many Nipmucs, joining Metacom, who had taken the English name Philip. The King Philip War became the deadliest war in colonial American history, and the impact on the Native American population cannot be overstated. After the war, few natives returned to Quinsigamond. English settlers took advantage of the disruption and purchased the land from the Nipmucs, paying with only trucking cloth and corn. A committee of English settlers formed, and within a few years they agreed to rename the town Worcester. The area of North Pond, where UUCW now sits, was granted to George Danson, a baker from Boston. Danson soon built a mill here. In 1828, North Pond was dammed to increase the amount of water for use by the Blackstone Canal, creating Indian Lake. There are nearly 600 members of the Nipmuc tribe living in Massachusetts today. The 4.5-acre Hassanamisco Reservation and Cisco Homestead in Grafton have been continuously controlled by the Nipmuc people since the mid-1600s in return for their conversion to Christianity. Their reservation and homestead were placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 2011. As an 8th Principle congregation, UUCW is committed to honoring the history of the Nipmuc people and supporting the Nipmuc Nation and the interests of Indigenous people in central Massachusetts. We encourage you to learn more about Nipmuc history and heritage. That's the end of the text in the brochure, and it will also list reference material and resources for learning and action. The task force is looking for appropriate illustrations for the brochure. If you have feedback on this text or ideas or illustrations, please reach out to a member of the task force. And they are Rachel Keogh, Dave Showalter, Karen Stevenson, Emily Stolarski, and Evan Wilson. Thank you.
I want to invite our youngest among us to come forward with their baskets of change for change at this time. For those of you who are newest among us, this is a weekly opportunity for our religious exploration participants to be able to provide substance for our emergency relief fund. For those of you who have change that you'd like to contribute today, please raise your hand, and one of our basket bearers will find you. Start date 78153.7, Minister's Log. It has been 25 years since I took the helm of this ship. It seems a lifetime since I arrived with my family to embark on adventures that have taken us through times of war, national traumas, local traumas, political upheaval, and pandemics. It would be wrong, however, to simply characterize my tenure as troubled. Though we have certainly seen our share of crises, we have also experienced the joy and triumph of laws that now honor civil marriage. And on this Pride weekend, we especially look to that heritage. We have seen the end of wars, the transformations brought about by grappling with adversity, new possibilities on the horizon because we have persevered. To say we is important, I feel, and to feel equally so. One of the major transitions in the last 2.5 decades has been to engage the postmodern age, or as some now describe it, the post-postmodern age. Humanism, in its deepest sense, continues to guide us as we honor and explore history, traditions, rituals, science, technology, and the substance of our own spiritual awakenings. For we are a body that celebrates and honors the potential of human creativity and goodness to meet the challenges of the age. Generations have added to this orientation not simply to cherish individual freedoms and rights and the advances of science and technology and the rejection of dogmas of bygone eras, but also to honor the burgeoning histories which remind us that we have learned to cherish this. What we have learned to cherish is only a small part of what was made possible by generations of people who were often maligned and marginalized and all but forgotten. Think about the history we learned this morning in our 8th principle moment. The efforts of generations to bring to the forefront the necessity to grow and guard the equality and equity of women and children and people of different races and cultures and gender identities, sexual orientations, and abilities. It brought us again to the work of equity, inclusion, and expanding those identities. We began our mission years ago honoring the notion of the salvation of all humankind and continue that mission by embodying love, hope, and justice. It is a mission that we have been on this year for 184 years. Models of human engagement that we engaged along the way taught prime directives like never to interfere with the development of a culture that is living and growing, have led us to challenge the centrality of individualism and the ethic of a bystander ethic, to become actively engaged in that work that demands we accompany those who have been pushed to the margins, accompany them in ways that demonstrate our confidence in their ability to flourish, given a context of justice and compassion and equity. To do this is to be in solidarity, not control. To recognize our commonality, not our superiority. We understand now that science and technology have both the salvific potential and the ability to end life as we know it. The difference between the two is the consciousness that we bring to the products of these endeavors. We also know that the way to end suffering is to move through it with those most affected, and in the process to recognize and learn compassion and our own capacity to use our privilege and potential to heal and not to harm. The challenge ahead for us, I think, is to engage not just other individuals, but other communities. To see ourselves as having something to offer, but more so, something to learn from such endeavors. We have come to know how much isolation can diminish the human spirit and kill bodies. My hope is that the voyage ahead will give us new opportunities to learn and to serve and to expand our understanding of the core of all being, which has always been and will always be love. Minister out. Would you like to hear some good news? Yes. Oh, you're going to have to do a hell of a lot better than that. Would you like to hear some good news? Yes. We're here! We begin another season, but I want to pause for a moment in this good news, and I want to invite the people who helped to bring this moment to us through unending efforts all summer. We talk about the church year ending and beginning. That's hogwash, right? The church year is circular, it continues, and there are so many people that kept the ministries of this congregation alive. So, if you stepped onto this property during the summer in order to accomplish some menial or remarkable thing, right, in service to one of the ministries here or in service to persons here, would you please stand? You have people from Buildings and Grounds, you have people from Human Resources Committee, you have ministers, you have our food pantry volunteers, our religious education volunteers, our board of management, our Great Garden On team, and our social justice witness. Who else am I missing? Summer services. Holy cow. And I want to thank Sherry Lynn for setting those up. I want to thank all of you who participated and provided our summer services, and those of you who spent time planning. And the painting crew. So when you exit this door to go down to the fellowship hall, do not just simply walk through it. Step through it and pause for a moment. Take in the atmosphere. It is the cleanest you will ever see it for a very long time. So enjoy it while you can. Oh, and the tech people. So our technology people have been working all summer long. We will be having computers in almost every room, and the technology to Zoom from almost every room in the building soon. We have hired someone, please be seated. We've hired someone to help us make certain that our floors actually sparkle, thanks to Josh. And so many of you who have worked over the summer, I know that our Committee on Right Relations has been diligent work on compiling the responses to the All Congregation Survey, and so many others here. Your staff has been at work through most of the summer, preparing for this fall, and it's exciting. It's going to be an exciting year, and that is the great news here. So many things that are going on, so many people involved. It is not an individual effort. It is what community is about, and for that, we should be very grateful. And it is in honor of that vision of community that we pause each time we come together for worship in order to take up an offering in service to the mission and ministries of this congregation. So I want to invite those of you who want to participate in our offering digitally this morning, online or here personally. If you would like to text 508-231-5335, you will receive instructions once you do that if it's your first time. Or I want to invite our usher and greeter to come forward this morning for our morning offering will now be received. We come to that time in our service when we're given pause to consider what is deepest in our hearts or most profoundly on our minds, or in the work of our hands, in the days that have transpired or in the prospect of days to come, joys and sorrows that touch us deeply and are given another measure of meaning because of our capacity to share them in the midst of a company that claims us as a co-journeyer. So I invite those of you who have joys or sorrows this day to come forward and form lines on either side of the sanctuary, to come and speak briefly into the microphone, first telling us who you are so that those using our auditory enhancement devices or joining us online can also participate in this important ritual. If you're online, you are welcome to do one of two things: either place a joy or sorrow in the chat that we can share during this time, or if you desire, you may raise your hand or unmute yourself, and we will put you on the screen and see if we can have you address us directly. Are the joys or sorrows to be shared this day?
Hello, I'm Reverend Lachey. I'm one of your ministers. I'm retired, but we don't notice that. I want to share a joy and a sorrow. It's a mixed thing. Two of our beloved members, Brian Sweeney and Karen Stevenson, lost a parent. Brian lost his father. They are currently on their way home from the funeral. There is a meal train. There are 4 empty spots. One of them's tonight. If you are able and would like to help, I've been able to do it twice, and I can't tell you how meaningful it is to be able to help someone you love. So see me or anyone else that you want to, and tell them to come talk to me. Thank you.
Morning. My name's Josh, and I'd like to share a joy. I saw one of my son's bar mitzvah yesterday, and it was a joy. He worked so hard. He did so well. He did all his reading. It was very joyful. Thanks.
Good morning. My name is Annie. I have a concern and some joys. My concern is my mom was in urgent care yesterday for some lower abdominal pain, and they're still not, it's like persistent but not too bad, but they're worried it's appendix related. So she and my dad, instead of going off to Saranac Lake today for a high school reunion, my dad's high school friends are like trying to get CAT scan appointments. So that's the concern. She's okay right now, but we just don't know what it is. And then the joy is that I'm lucky enough to have a brother who works for a luxury travel company. And for my 40th birthday, he got me a free night at the new Raffles Hotel in Boston. And we went Friday night, and I saw Pedro Martinez 3 times in... we rode the elevator with him 3 times. He had to show me how to use it. And then we saw Casey Musgraves at the TD Garden, and I just felt like it was an amazing night. I ate a lot of chocolate cake, and and then we had a really nice afternoon with my little brother. So very joyful and grateful for him.
Good morning. My name is Barry Brigham. I want to express joy, gladness, appreciation, gratitude for the people that donated to my first ever Pan Mass Challenge ride. As I've told many of you, I've volunteered for the Pan Mass Challenge for 21 years, finally decided to do the ride. And I'd like to say that it was highly successful, that I did all 186 miles in 2 days, riding my bike from Sturbridge to Bourne, and then Bourne to P-Town. After the first 109 miles in 95-degree heat, I cramped up. And that's actually an understatement for actually what happened, but I'm very appreciative of all of you that reached out in both financially and in moral support. It was great, and the what was scary to me was certainly the physical part, but also the financial part for Pan Math Challenge is that you have to raise a minimum of $6,000. And thanks to some of you and some of my friends and colleagues and people at the Y, et cetera, I was up around 9,000. So, and that's for cancer research. So thank you all, very much appreciated.
Hi, I'm Angela. I can't repeat this. I'm a little short. So I would love to express a joy. I took my daughter, Olivia, to Pride Fest yesterday, and we had a blast. We had so much fun. I posted pictures all over Facebook. But it just makes me realize that, you know, I'm so lucky to have the children that I have, and that I am very accepting no matter what they are. And I know a lot of families in the world are not as accepting. And I just want to say that love is love. And we got it last night, or yesterday and last night. And if we could have that much love in the world as much as we had yesterday, the world would be running on just, we wouldn't have to run on gas. We would run on love alone. So we had a great time, so thank you.
So I will tell you that the Paysons went through another transition this summer with our daughter, who moved in with her boyfriend in Chelmsford. It is the next stage in the evolution of parenting, where you go from preschool to school to college to post-college and we have adjusted. We still have one at home, so it's kind of a one in, one out policy that we're engaging right now, which has been wonderful to be able to have Charlie back with us after he graduated last spring from college. I want to honor the fact that this summer saw a number of deaths and celebrations of life here. I don't see the Van Battenbergs this morning, but Craig honored the life of his brother who died in February, and then a month later his sister died as well, and we had memorial services for them. I want to honor Birgit Patterson, who was the grand dame of this congregation, its most seasoned member, if you will, who died this summer, and we had the opportunity to honor and celebrate her life and the life of her beloved husband, John, who also graced this community for so many years. I also want to remember the Sweeney Stevensons, as Cheryl mentioned, and I'm wondering if I'm forgetting anyone. Oh, Don Guyton, who was a very active member of this congregation for a number of years, and who did you? Oh, Bill Forbes. So Bill Forbes graced this congregation on a number of occasions, especially on the Wolfson Sundays, was active in the Greater Worcester Humanist group. And so we have had a summer of memory and a summer of love with all of those folks, and we look forward to be continuing to honor them throughout the year as well. So I'll leave it at that. And then finally, I want to extend my own incredible gratitude to this congregation for 25 years. Okay. So let me just say this. It is a rare thing for ministers to be able to serve one place and to see generations of people move through it, to see babies come into the world, to honor their evolution through their childhood and their teenage years, the young adult years, to see them graduate, and then some of them to return and to start their own families and to bring more children into the world, and to be able to honor generations that way. I count myself very, very lucky to have found this place, and I look forward to continuing that service for as long as we will have it continue. Thank you so much. Online, we have from Grace Bromwich. It's the start of a school year. I am loving my students and getting to teach and interact with them again, but there are a few students in my 6th grade class who will not stop talking or respond to reprimands and are making me have to pause and spend time lecturing the entire class. That's never happened to anyone. And none of you were one of those students, right? Yeah, I'll bet. It's called being a parent too, yes. Let us be in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Spirit of life. Source of our inner and outermost being, we come today excited for our ingathering, our return from summer sojourn, bringing with us a myriad of joys and sorrows that remind us of our deep connections to each other and the communities we love, and to those that we honor as legacy. Help us be mindful of the transitions that we have encountered for bar mitzvahs and births and burials. Help us also to remember those whose lives have been transformed because of illness, and those whose lives have been made joyous by new opportunities for work and play and school, for new beginnings, and for those who continue to find ways to stretch themselves and to serve others in honor of the vision that we all might be made whole by common efforts. For this and for so much more this year, we are grateful. Amen. And blessed be. I invite you to rise and to join together around the peace pole outside. Please bring with you your service insert for the water ceremony, and if you've brought water with you, remember to bring that as well.
love, hope, and faith.
May our eyes be open to opportunities for broad ministry within, throughout, and beyond. And may the blessings we come to know that passion to be the blessings to the world. Amen.
Gather in community to worship the corner of our church, here as a church. This morning we carry love and hope and courageous faith, and we seek to renew our covenantal commitments. We remind ourselves of the home we share, a home that we come back to, whether after a long or short absence, a home we welcome all to make their own, a home of love and hope and faith. Come, let us gather together within.
And we gather ritually this morning, carrying gifts of our summer, symbols of the water that we have been present to, which has been present to us.
Symbols we may call to mind light summer showers, thunderstorms, dewy mornings and misty evenings, or moments at ocean sides, poolsides, riversides, lakesides, swimming, fishing, hiking, strolling, and who we were while we were there, even if we were alone. Perhaps we find ourselves in the presence of water during a moment of grief, or birth, or rebirth, or perhaps in an ordinary place whose sacredness is palpable nonetheless.
We reflect upon what brought with us to these moments of faith, backpacks and coolers, but more so, what spiritual, emotional, or other topics we carried and what we did with it while we were in these watering places.
Did the water's unprovoked and indefatigable resilience inspire you, or its serenity? Maybe its waxing and waning tides, the music of its motion, or the silence of its sleep.
We feel the interdependent web of all existence coming alive at these moments. Some of you may have had the
And now I invite you to come forward to speak into the microphone so that those joining us online can also participate in this part of our service. Bringing with you water that you have brought to this moment, and to speak the name of the places from whence it comes, or if you are in need of water symbolic of such journeys, we have pitchers here and here. You are welcome to place the water wherever you desire in our garden today. So, chair first. Kathy.
This water is from Whitten Pond at the World Fellowship Center in Conway, New Hampshire, a Peace and Justice Center where I spent much of the summer.
My water represents Lake Winnipesaukee in New Hampshire, where I was less than a week ago.
Who would like to come up next?
My water comes from the Yellowstone River in Montana
that feeds into the Missouri, that feeds into the Mississippi, that provides water for the entire midsection of the country. A very poignant moment while I was fishing.
Don't hate me, my water comes from a cruise ship. We went on a cruise with my daughter's family into Alaska and into Glacier Bay, where I saw whales and seals and sea otters and orca and porpoises, and there's more. And the most amazing thing is I heard the calving of a glacier, and it shook the ship. Is that it? Okay, read another story. I'm gonna go this way.
This will represent a little bit more of the Pacific. We were in Seattle and went across to Bainbridge Island on a ferry, and so we crossed some water. It was lovely. To a wedding, which was good.
This water represents the water that we went to from a camp that we went to for 7 weeks. It's called Camp Stonewall in Connecticut.
All can come forward and form lines on either side if you want.
Back to the East Coast oceans, from New York to Algonquin to Salisbury, and even a little bit of Comet Pond.
Can't forget Comet.
This water comes from our property. The bog, we have a little tiny bog over here now, and I borrowed this from one of our pitcher plants, and I am putting it back in that pitcher plant. I don't think it has an insect in it, but it has, I think, maybe an insect and some algae, so it's digesting it right now.
This is symbolic water from a hotel pool in Ohio, and in honor of my nephew and his new wife.
This water is symbolic of all of the watery places we went this summer. So our pool and Wells, Maine, the beach at Wells, Maine, and the Saco River in New Hampshire, and Lake Champlain, where we went for a family wedding.
This water is symbolic also of time spent in New Hampshire and Maine, near the Saco River, Lake Winnipesaukee, and a little pond called the Coonamessett Pond in Maine.
This water is symbolic of the water that we played with and oohed and awed over in Nova Scotia, which is a part of the world I've never been to, Cape Breton Island, and the amazing brooks and rivers that I don't know the names of, and parts of the Atlantic Ocean that were just unbelievably beautiful and quiet and peaceful.
Water is symbolic of Blue Hill Bay in Maine, which has a very gentle sounding name, but can whip up a wind like you have never seen. And Ken and I were absolutely terrified in our tiny little boat. We obviously were here. We made it back into the harbor where we moor our boat, and we looked at each other, and the next week we sold our boat.
So this water is symbolic of the water in P-Town, in Provincetown, where we celebrated our honeymoon earlier this summer.
This water is symbolic of the water consumed after many glorious summer long runs.
This water is from my home in Sterling and also symbolic of my home in Nova Scotia.
Even in the hottest part of summer, Walden Pond is deep and cold. And this water represents a place of memory for me. Walden Pond is where I went and I immersed myself after saying goodbye to my brother in hospice this summer.
Morning. Is this on? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay. This was symbolic be from beaches. So may peace water give.
This water is symbolic of the many days I was able to spend down at the Cape at Yarmouth this summer.
This water is from Old Orchard Beach, Maine, where we were able to spend a couple days with friends this summer after very much needing a vacation. We've had a
Hi, this water is from Montreal, Canada. But it represents all the bodies of water we rode our bicycles around while we were there.
Hello, it's been several years. It's good to be back. Our water is symbolic of Coe's Pond, where Eli has learned to love kayaking, and the Atlantic Ocean, where we went to Montauk this summer, and the Blackstone River, where I found a secret little spot this summer that I loved.
One more.
This spring, I was blessed with travel, mostly with UUs, to beautiful beaches and lakes in Rhode Island, Maine, and the Berkshires. And then in the summer, as usual, I stayed closer to home to enjoy waters, mostly around Worcester, that need lots of care from water quality experts and their staff, but still, most of them were closed for most of August. But this water is from the tap at IHA.
What did we cut you? Sorry. This water is symbolic to the Coast Pond where me and my mom, where I caught my biggest fish.
Yeah.
How are you?
My water's symbolic from south coast of Massachusetts and the Mount Hope Bay in Rhode Island, where I spent half a dozen days just lolling around, listening to the waves and the peace and quiet, and getting tossed by the waves at Boston too.
My water is symbolic of we have this little old kiddie pool in our backyard. My son, many years ago, when they were getting rid of it for their teenagers used it for years as little ones. Well, my granddaughters were here for 5 weeks this summer, and they had fun splashing in this kiddie pool.
Well, I'm going to use this water as a symbolic water. I was in West Palm Beach this summer, and I get to know better my grandnieces. I have 2 little grandnieces. Love and family. So that's what I want to share.
Else?
Love, the final frontier. This is the voyage of the starship UUCW, continuing its 183-year mission to embody ways of hope, justice, and peace, to seek out new ways of being and serving, to boldly proclaim a message of human goodness, planetary oneness, divine affection, and universal peace.
So we will sing Dona Nobis Pacem. We'll sing it once, all together. Then we'll break into 3 groups. This group over here will be the first one. This group over here will be the second one. This group over here will be the third one. You probably know how it goes. If you don't, listen to your neighbor. They know how it goes. Dona nobis pacem, pacem. Dona nobis 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 pacem, pacem. Dona nobis
nobis pacem, dona nobis pacem.
Good. Here we go.
Dona nobis pacem, 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 dona nobis
Okay.
Once again, beloved, worship in this place has come to an end, but our service continues. Next, with refreshment and conversation, may yours be a wondrous and wonderful week. I look forward to seeing you back here very, very soon. Amen.
Would you like the ice hat back?